My family stole my medical fund for a vacation. He won't die without the surgery. We deserve the trip for dealing with all this drama, my sister said. So I did this and watched them lose everything. All right, Reddit. Before you say it, yes, my story is that messed up. My family used my surgery money to take a vacation because apparently my sister's mood matters more than anything else. Grab your popcorn and enjoy the shit show. It gets ugly. I'm Kai, 29 male, senior systems analyst at a mid-sized company. Maxed 401,000, 6-month emergency fund, the whole responsible adult thing down pat. Yet somehow I was still everyone's financial emergency contact. My sister Elena, 27 female, is professionally allergic to employment. Dropped out of community college studying communications, then a for-profit beauty school that cost dad $12,000. Can't hold jobs longer than Kardashian marriages. Target and Olive Garden were too toxic, apparently. But she always has cash for designer purses, costing more than my car payment, Vegas weekends, and a constantly rotating wardrobe. The family calls it finding herself. I call it being a parasitic waste of oxygen with expensive taste. My parents weaponized guilt into high art. Dad owns a mechanic shop that somehow operates in perpetual crisis, despite being the only decent garage in a town of 15,000. Mom works 20 hours a week at $15 per hour, but lives like she's pulling six figures. The math never made sense, but questioning it got lectures about family privacy and not everything is spreadsheets, Kai. They never asked for money directly. Instead, emergencies always required exactly what I could afford to loan. Dad's tools got stolen by ninjas right before big jobs. Mom's car developed $2,800 transmission problems. Elena's rent got mysteriously raised. The timing was surgical. They'd wait until I mentioned a bonus, bought something nice, or got my tax refund, like they had a financial calendar marking my money movements. Every family gathering, I'd show up with gifts, they'd perform financial distress theater. We know you're doing so well. Family sticks together. You know we do the same. Yeah, they wouldn't. My buddy Jake from work had called out their nonsense for years. Network security specialist sits 2 cubicles over. When's the last time they asked how you were doing instead of what you could do for them? He'd ask over Friday drinks. Your family treats you like a walking ATM with daddy issues. Jake could spot manipulation from orbit. Look at the pattern, he'd say, showing me my own family texts. Every emergency happens right after you mention good news. But I was too deep in family Stockholm syndrome. I'd make excuses about bad luck, rough patches, how family helps family. Jake would just shake his head and buy the next round. I wasn't their successful son. I was the lucky one who should feel guilty and redistribute wealth. Promotion? Now you can help with mom's car payment? New apartment? Must be nice while we're struggling. Vacation? Wish we could afford nice trips? The genius move was isolating me from anyone who might notice. Every girlfriend got the full treatment. Subtle digs about me changing, questions about family loyalty, comments about outsiders who didn't get our dynamics. My ex Sarah lasted 2 years before snapping at Thanksgiving. Do you people ever talk to Kai about anything other than money? The silence could have powered a small city. They froze her out completely. We broke up 3 months later. That should have been my wake-up call, but I somehow ended up apologizing to them for bringing someone who caused drama. Conservative estimate, $45,000 over 8 years. Car repairs, rent assistance, medical bills, temporary loans never repaid. My entire emergency fund, bonuses, tax refunds, house down payment savings, gone. 29 years old making good money with basically nothing to show for it because I'd been subsidizing 3 adults who treated my paycheck like their pension fund. But toxic family dynamics reveal themselves during real crisis. When I was lying in that hospital bed, I finally saw their true colors. Tuesday started normal, debugging a network intrusion that had plagued our biggest client for 3 weeks. ScriptKitty had found a vulnerability, planted crypto mining malware across their infrastructure. I'd worked this case 12 straight days, pulling 16-hour shifts, surviving on energy drinks and vending machine sandwiches. The breakthrough was close. I'd traced the attack vector to their VPN configuration when pain hit my right side like knife-throwing practice. Initially figured it was consequence of eating garbage and hunching over computers for 2 weeks. 29-year-old metabolism finally protesting college-level abuse. By lunch, I was doubled over in the office bathroom looking like zombie movie casting, sweating through my shirt. Pain went from uncomfortable to active stabbing in 30 minutes. Jake found me there around 2 p.m. when I missed our daily stand-up, something I'd never done in 4 years. Jesus Christ, you look like you got hit by a food poisoning truck. What's wrong? Stomach bug. Need real food and sleep. I'll walk it off. Nonsense. You're gray and shaking. ER. Now. Argue, and I'm calling an ambulance, telling them chest pains. That's real friendship. Jake shut down my computer, grabbed my keys, drove me to the hospital while I tried not to puke in his car. ER triage nurse's demeanor shifted immediately from boredom to genuine concern. Right lower abdominal pain, onset this morning, nausea, fever, scale of 1 to 10, 7, 8 when I move wrong. Getting you back immediately. 20 minutes later, hospital gown, blood drawn, IV inserted, CT scan. Jake stayed, fielding calls from our boss about the client emergency. Dr. Miller delivered the diagnosis while I floated on medical-grade happy juice. Your appendix perforated. Burst and leaked infected material throughout your abdominal cavity. Peritonitis. Serious infection that could have killed you if you'd waited longer. Killed me were the only words that registered through morphine. Treatment plan. Stabilize infection before surgery. Drainage tube for infected fluid. IV antibiotics through PICC line. Monitor for 2 weeks. The works. Translation. Weeks in hospital, major surgery, weeks more recovery. Short-term disability covered 60% salary for 12 weeks, but medical bills were about to destroy me. Health insurance. $5,000 deductible, 20% coinsurance, $15,000 max out of pocket. Even with insurance, potentially $15,000 in expenses plus lost income. Jake called my parents from the waiting room. Within an hour, they showed up. Oh my God, sweetheart, we were so scared, Mom sobbed, clutching my hand like I was ascending to heaven. We dropped everything. Don't worry. We'll handle everything. Dad chimed in. Focus on getting better, son. We'll handle the details. The attention was different. No hints about money problems, no mentions of struggles, just pure concern. It felt genuine, like crisis had shifted our family dynamic back to normal human relationships. For 72 hours, I believed near-death experiences could transform people. Maybe almost losing me made them realize they loved me for who I was, not what I could provide. Jake was skeptical from day one. Glad they're here, but something feels off about how quickly they went into crisis management mode. The hospital routine was mind-numbing but comforting. Vitals every 4 hours, doctor rounds twice daily, antibiotic drip fighting the infection. The drain tube was uncomfortable as heck, but watching infected fluid decrease was satisfying. Mom brought magazines and cookies I couldn't eat. Dad told stories about customers asking about my recovery. Elena posted Facebook updates about her brave little brother fighting for his life. Day 3, Mom suggested the GoFundMe. Medical bills are insane and you'll be out of work for weeks. Let people help. You've helped everyone else for years. Elena volunteered to manage it. I'll handle social media so you focus on getting better. You shouldn't worry about donations while recovering. She made herself administrator, photographed me looking appropriately tragic, surrounded by machines, wrote this heartfelt post hitting all the right notes. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Co-workers started a collection hitting $4,000 in 3 days. My apartment complex organized a fundraiser bringing in $800. College friends shared the page. Even my ex Sarah donated $200. 2 weeks, $31,000. $31,000 from people who gave a darn about my survival. What I didn't know, while I was feeling grateful and loved, my family was having hallway conversations about Caribbean cruises and beach umbrellas. Day 9, when I overheard the conversation that shattered my worldview. Drifting on pain meds, familiar voices in the hallway caught my attention. Mom and Elena, conspiratorial whispers. The cruise deal expires Friday, Elena said. We have to book tomorrow or lose the Caribbean package. Paradise Cruise Lines won't extend. But Kai's surgery is next week, Mom said. Think logically. He's stable now. Infection markers down, responding perfectly. Surgery's basically routine. They were planning a vacation while I was lying here like a medical Christmas tree. The Timing's perfect, Elena interrupted. We've been managing everything for over a week. Fundraising, hospital visits, coordinating with work, insurance companies. Living at this hospital, she wasn't wrong. They had been constant fixtures, taking shifts, handling calls and paperwork I was too drugged to manage. Felt like love and support. The fund has over $31,000, way more than needed for medical bills. Even with surgery costs and recovery, there's plenty left. But people donated specifically for his medical care. There's still more than enough for medical care. The cruise is only $7,200 for both of us. Flights, hotel, meals, everything. Like getting vacation for free. Money just sitting there. Casual audacity was breathtaking. We'll be back before he's discharged. He'll never know. Honestly, we deserve this after everything we've been through. Everything we've been through. Like my medical emergency was primarily their inconvenience. What if people find out? How would they? We're not posting vacation selfies during surgery. We'll say we're visiting Aunt Carol in Phoenix. She's been asking anyway. You really think this is okay? Look strategically. We've been incredibly stressed managing medical drama. Haven't had a moment to ourselves. Gaslighting so smooth it could be a psychological manipulation masterclass. Doctors said he'll be hospitalized another week after surgery. Perfect timing. Beach relaxation while he recovers with professional medical care. If something goes wrong, nothing will. Dr. Miller said completely routine now. But even if something unexpected happened, what could we do from here? Scheduling vacation around my surgery like avoiding a TV program. I processed what I'd heard, feeling like morphine had been replaced with liquid betrayal. These people spent over a week accepting sympathy and donations while secretly planning to rob and abandon me. But I wasn't just hurt. Something cold and analytical was taking shape. They were about to discover that being bedridden doesn't mean defenseless. Sometimes it just gives uninterrupted planning time. Next morning, while they thought I was sleeping off pharmaceuticals, I launched what Jake later called Operation Digital Forensics. My laptop had collected dust for days, but suddenly I had motivation to put professional skills to work on a personal problem. Elena's administrator access was supposed to help with donor management. What she'd actually done was give herself digital blank check access. As someone analyzing system vulnerabilities 40 hours a week, I knew exactly how to trace financial transactions and user activity. GoFundMe's admin dashboard showed everything. Transaction history, withdrawal requests, IP addresses, even unpublished draft posts. 3 recent transactions told the story. $7,200 to Paradise Cruise Lines for Caribbean Paradise Package, Balcony Suite. $1,800 to Southwest Airlines for Miami flights. $400 to Resort Booking for pre-cruise luxury accommodation. They hadn't planned to rob me. They'd already executed the digital heist. Timestamps showed cruise booking at 2:17 a.m. 3 days ago, probably while I slept and they planned their getaway in the family lounge. But the rabbit hole went deeper. 2 weeks of transaction history revealed systematic financial abuse. Every withdrawal was labeled to look legitimate, but cross-referencing with actual medical expenses showed nothing matched. Mom's visa payment, $950 as patient care expenses. No $950 medical charges anywhere. Elena's car payment, $420 as family support costs. Dad's fishing equipment, $380 as caregiver wellness supplies. They'd been treating donor money like personal entertainment budget while performing concerned family theater. Email trails were damning. Elena deleted most communications but forgot the backup folder auto-saving account emails. Found detailed planning conversations about managing Kai's account for maximum family benefit. Screenshot backups from Elena's phone told the complete story. Our shared family iCloud account I'd set up years ago when I was naive enough to think family meant mutual support. Her texts with boyfriend Tyler. Babe, Caribbean cruise happening. Got mom to use Kai's medical money. He's got way more than needed LOL. 7 days unlimited drinks and beaches. Tyler. Damn, that's cold even for your family. Your brother gonna be ticked? He won't find out. Barely conscious from pain meds, will be back before discharge. What's he gonna do from a hospital bed? Using medical money while he's sick? Pretty messed up. Tyler, you don't understand our stress. 2 weeks of hospital drama. We deserve this. Jake showed up at noon, found me staring at my laptop with homicidal clarity. You look like Russian cybercriminals hacked your password. What's got you laser focused? I showed him everything. His expressions cycled through confusion, disgust, rage, settling on grim satisfaction with admiration. These people are sociopaths, stealing medical money while you face surgery alone. They think I'm too weak and grateful to fight back. Are you? I looked at my screen showing $11,400 in fraudulent charges made while unconscious. Not even close, Jake grinned. What do you need? Research. Chargeback procedures, travel insurance policies, cruise cancellation terms, and most devastating timing possible. Their cruise departed Friday 6 a.m. Today was Tuesday. 3 days to turn their dream vacation into a financial nightmare. Time to show them hospital beds doesn't make you helpless. Thursday morning brought steady rain that made everything look gray and depressing, perfect for watching my family prepare their grand abandonment. They arrived at 10 a.m. with overnight bags and community theater expressions of Concerned Family Members, the musical. The performance was impressive. Mom brought tissues, wore worried expressions reserved for soap opera marathons. Dad looked appropriately reluctant. Elena perfected this martyred look, sacrificing happiness for family duty. We're driving to Phoenix to see Aunt Carol, Mom announced with grocery list enthusiasm. She's been so worried since we told her about your surgery. You know how she gets when family is sick. Long drive just for a visit, especially with my surgery Tuesday, I replied casually. We'll be back Sunday evening, Elena added, checking her phone. Plenty of time before surgery, we wouldn't miss it. Dad cleared his throat with coached lines awkwardness. Carol specifically asked us to come. Having health problems, wants to see family while she can. Interesting. How's Aunt Carol? What health problems? Mom and Elena exchanged lightning-quick glances. Age-related things. Nothing serious, but isolated since Uncle Frank passed. Uncle Frank died 6 years ago. Detail they'd remember with 30 seconds of cover story planning instead of theft vacation focus. All right, give her my love. Tell her I'll call when I'm better. We will, sweetheart. Mom's forehead kiss carried childhood tenderness. We love you so much. Focus on getting better. Love you too, bro. Rest up. Let doctors take care of you. Her hug felt like betrayal wrapped in fake affection. After they left, I processed the comprehensive betrayal. Not just money, though stealing $11,400 from the medical fund was bad enough. Not just timing, it was deception, manipulation, complete absence of genuine concern. Jake arrived with coffee, donuts, and righteous anger from watching someone you care about get screwed over. Where's the traveling circus of emotional vampires? They've been living here 2 weeks. Phoenix, Aunt Carol emergency, BS, real story? So I filled him in on the morning performance. They actually did it. Abandoned you for theft vacation with full emotional manipulation performance. Yup, they did. The evening nurse found me laptop focused, more alert than since admission. You have more energy tonight. Wonderful. Means infection's clearing. I'm feeling extremely motivated, I said. Family visiting tomorrow? Family's geographically unavailable for the next week, but that's fine. Friday 6 a.m., I started making calls that would transform their Caribbean paradise into week-long nightmare of frozen cards, canceled reservations, and stranded in paradise logistics. Friday exactly at 8 a.m. Eastern, calculated for when their cruise ship pulled away from Miami. I began demolition of their fraudulent vacation. Irony wasn't lost. Executing the most comprehensive cyber attack of my career from a hospital bed using laptop, phone, and fury from being betrayed by people I'd supported for years. First call, credit card fraud department. Maria sounded like she'd seen every financial fraud type, but was genuinely shocked by family medical fund theft. I need to report multiple unauthorized charges on my GoFundMe medical account. Family members stealing donations for my expenses to fund personal travel while I'm hospitalized. Medical fund fraud is taken extremely seriously. Can you provide specific details? Rattled off cruise booking, flights, hotels, every fraudulent charge with 12-hour transaction log analysis precision. Maria's typing got rapid as I provided timestamps, amounts, vendor names, documented evidence. We'll initiate emergency chargebacks immediately. Given medical fraud nature and clear evidence, this gets highest priority. Merchants notified within 4 hours. Reversals processed by end of business. 4 hours. They were probably poolside posting tropical drink photos. Call 2. Paradise Cruise Line Security Department. They dealt with payment fraud regularly, but never heard medical fund theft this audacious. I need to discuss booking under Elena Sullivan. Emergency chargebacks being filed. Charges made with stolen medical donations. If there are payment disputes, passengers must resolve immediately or face removal at next port. What if they can't resolve it? Standard policy, immediate ship removal, no refund. They're responsible for transportation home from whatever port we're docked. Zero tolerance for fraudulent payments. How would they find out? Ship security notifies directly. Escorts to guest services. No alternative payment immediately means disembarkation at next port. Beautiful. Trapped on floating hotel with nowhere to run when financial hammer dropped. Next port, Cozumel tomorrow morning. Jake arrived with coffee. You magnificent systematic jerk. They're about to get financially marooned in paradise. Call 3. Southwest Airlines. Customer service professionally helpful but confused. Payment reversals mean immediate ticket cancellation. New tickets at current market rates. Already checked last-minute Caribbean flights home. Economy. $1,800 per person, assuming availability. Premium. $2,400. First class. Sold out. Their original return flights? Automatically canceled when payment reversed. No exceptions for fraud cases. Perfect. Even resolving cruise ship situation, they'd be stranded without return transportation. Then I called every vendor they'd stolen from my medical fund. Dad's bank about medical equipment funding fishing hobby. Mom's credit card company about mysterious payments. Pedicure salon about caregiver stress relief. Each call, reporting unauthorized charges from medical fund account. These weren't approved medical expenses, filing fraud claims. By noon, chargebacks on $11,800 fraudulent medical fund charges. Every stolen penny about to boomerang back, destroying their little vacation. Jake documented everything with war correspondent detail. They're discovering karma has excellent timing and twisted humor. Phone started ringing 2 p.m., calculated for when cruise ship was far enough from port, they couldn't just get off and fly home. Elena panicked from a very public place. Kai, something's wrong with our cruise. Payment problems. We might have to leave the ship tomorrow in Mexico. Voicemail. Hilarious how panic made her immediately forget about Aunt Carol. Mom, confused and scared, ship announcements audible. Honey, credit cards aren't working. Cruise people saying fraud. I don't understand. Please call back. Also voicemail. By evening, 57 calls. Voicemails progressed from confusion to panic to full hysteria. Elena crying about stranded cruise ship. Mom begging me to understand the mistake. Dad's voice in later messages, clearly intoxicated and angry about family vacation being ruined. Final voicemail, midnight from Elena. Ugly crying with ship announcements background. Kai, please, they're making us get off tomorrow in Cozumel. We don't have money for flights. Please call. We're scared, don't know what to do. We're sorry, okay? Please help. Instead of calling back, I sent carefully crafted group text with screenshots of every fraudulent transaction. Every stolen dollar, every fake medical expense, every lie told to justify robbing me while helpless. The text was simple and devastating. Hope Aunt Carol's health emergency is going well. Don't worry about me. I'll be fine here. Alone. Having surgery Tuesday. While you're spending medical donations on pina coladas and spa treatments. Bon voyage. Blocked all numbers, started preparing the legal phase of their education. My surgery went perfectly. Doctor Miller said completely textbook. Clean incision, no complications, minimal inflammation. Interval appendectomy took under 2 hours. Awake and alert by evening, finally free of drain tube and PICC line that made me look like a medical experiment. Recovery was remarkably smooth, probably because I was running on pure satisfaction from the destruction of my family's stolen vacation. Spent 3 days post-surgery surrounded by actual friends and supporters. Jake organized co-worker visits bringing real food and client crisis updates. My boss confirmed job security and approved medical leave. Most meaningful visits. Donors who'd read my final GoFundMe update, wanting to check on me personally. Mrs. Chen brought homemade soup. A co-worker's teenage daughter came with card, signed by her entire class. Transferred fund administration to Jake, included lawyer contact for questions about donation theft. Response was immediate, overwhelming, and deeply satisfying. Donors weren't just angry, personally betrayed and professionally ticked. People gave money specifically for my recovery, and my family treated it like a vacation fund. Trust violation was complete and public. New donations flooded from people furious on my behalf, including large contributions from local business owners who'd heard about it through social media. Within a week, fund grew from $31,000 to $63,000. Nothing motivates charitable giving like discovering previous donations were stolen by patients' family. Meanwhile, my family discovered stranded in Mexico with frozen credit cards, meant practically. Through Jake's airport connections, real-time nightmare updates. Your sister and mom sat in Cancun airport 26 hours trying to find affordable flights, Jake reported with barely contained glee. Airport security said they caused such a scene about no money they almost got arrested for disturbing peace. Imagining Elena and mom crying in Cancun airport trying to get home with no money was satisfying. Finally had to call your dad to wire emergency money for coach tickets. Middle seats, next to bathroom, discount airline, no food service. They limped home 5 days after my surgery, financially destroyed, publicly humiliated, facing legal consequences making tax audits look like spa days. My lawyer, college buddy specializing in financial fraud, following the case with professional fascination, had been busy during recovery. Civil demand letters went out day, I was discharged, formally requesting immediate restitution plus interest, legal fees, punitive damages. Legal language was harsh. systematic misappropriation of medical fund donations, breach of fiduciary duty during a medical emergency, fraudulent conversion of charitable contributions, and my favorite, abandonment of family member during a medical crisis for personal benefit. When letters were predictably ignored, small claims court filing. When they didn't show, default judgments. When they still didn't pay, wage garnishment and asset seizure. 2 weeks after getting home, the apartment felt like a palace compared to hospital room. Real meltdown started. Being financially destroyed, publicly humiliated, legally pursued triggered complete mental break, transforming them from garden-variety manipulative jerks into full-blown stalker psychopaths. It started small. Elena showed up at my building at 3 a.m. Tuesday, intoxicated and screaming in the parking lot about how I'd ruined her life after everything she'd done for me. Even inebriated rage maintained theft as earned benefit framing. Neighbors were pissed. Mrs. Brown from 4B called cops after Elena started banging car windows, screaming about ungrateful brothers and family betrayal. Mr. Miller came out in bathrobe, told her shut up or he'd call security. The police report was entertaining. The subject appeared intoxicated, yelling about cruise ship money and medical funds. Claimed brother had stolen family money. Ride home with public disturbance warning, but incident was officially documented. My lawyer loved that. Established erratic behavior pattern related to financial fraud. Then mom escalated to workplace harassment, tactical error demonstrating how completely they'd lost strategy sense or self-preservation. Started calling my company's main number, convinced receptionist to transfer her to different departments, where she'd break down crying about sick son who'd lost his mind, destroying family over medical bills. Story kept changing. Sometimes I was mentally ill from surgery, sometimes manipulated by outside influences, and so on. HR got involved after the 5th call in 3 days. The boss pulled me aside during a team meeting with an uncomfortable personal drama at work expression. Kai, I don't know what's happening with your family, but they need to stop calling immediately. It's unprofessional, disruptive, and frankly disturbing for staff. Trust me, it's handled. They won't call anymore. I contacted building security, had them banned, sent cease and desist letters through lawyer, formally demanding they stop contacting me, workplace, or anyone associated with me. You'd think legal documents would stop rational people. Wrong, because my family aren't rational people. Dad got creative with harassment, demonstrating psychological breakdown was family-wide rather than Elena's dramatic outbursts. He started leaving gifts outside my door meant to mess with my head. Funeral arrangements with cards saying sorry for your loss of family. Sympathy bouquets with thinking of you in your time of loneliness. Get well cards addressed to someone who forgot what family means. Creepiest, memorial wreath with cards saying, hope you find peace with your choices in Dad's handwriting. Jake found it coming over for dinner, immediately photographed for documentation. Dude, your dad's leaving grief flowers like you died instead of cutting off their financial supply. That's serial killer behavior. Yeah, he's always been dramatic. So we documented every incident with photos and timestamps. The lawyer said escalating harassment patterns would be valuable for restraining orders or criminal charges. But Elena wasn't content with intoxicated parking lot scenes and workplace calls. She graduated to full-scale social media psychological warfare. Week 3 post-surgery, Elena decided if she couldn't manipulate me directly, she'd destroy my reputation through social media destruction. Started with Facebook posts masterfully designed to seem sympathetic while being psychotic underneath. Posts about when medical trauma changes someone you love and family betrayal during crisis. Vague enough to seem like genuine concern, but detailed enough that anyone knowing our situation understood she meant me. Then came escalation, showing complete reality detachment. Counter fundraising campaign. Elena set up her own GoFundMe, Family Recovery Fund, when medical bills destroy families. Description was a manipulation masterpiece, painting me as someone who'd become paranoid and vindictive after surgery, was making false accusations against loving family, and refusing reconciliation attempts. She was literally crowdfunding her defense against crowdfunding theft charges. My brother Kai was diagnosed with serious medical condition requiring emergency surgery. Our family rallied, organizing fundraising and managing care during scary time. Unfortunately, stress and medication seem to have affected his mental state, and he's now making false accusations about family stealing money used for legitimate family expenses during crisis. Jake found it first, called immediately. Your sister's trying to raise money to defend herself against your lawsuit for stealing money from your fundraiser. How much has she raised? $67. All from relatives who didn't fact check. The comment section was pure gold, providing better entertainment than Netflix. People who donated to my original medical fund found Elena's page, absolutely destroying her with facts and screenshots. Mrs. Chen's favorite. I donated $500 to help Kai recover from emergency surgery. You spent that money on a cruise vacation while he was alone in hospital. Now you want money to defend spending money you stole? Another donor posted. I have screenshots of your Instagram stories from the cruise ship while your brother was having surgery. You're not victims. You're thieves with social media addiction. But Elena wasn't content with fraudulent fundraising. Escalated to physical stalking behavior crossing legal lines, demonstrating complete rational judgment loss. She started showing up at places I frequented, gym, coffee shop near work, grocery store for weekly shopping. Never approaching directly, just lurking, taking photos like paparazzi. When confronted by staff or customers, she'd claim she was checking on sick brother's recovery or documenting his mental state for medical professionals. Professional-grade gaslighting, but amateur-hour stalking. The grocery store incident was peak entertainment. I was shopping for normal food after weeks of hospital meals when I noticed Elena following me with her phone, photographing everything in my cart like conducting divorce surveillance. The store manager approached after multiple customer complaints about unauthorized photography. Ma'am, you need to stop photographing other customers immediately. It's making people uncomfortable, violating store policy. That's my brother. I'm documenting his recovery progress for his medical team, Elena replied with practiced confidence. Sir, the manager turned to me, is this woman your sister and do you consent to being photographed? Yes, she's my sister. No, I absolutely do not consent. She's been legally prohibited from contacting me due to ongoing fraud litigation. Security escorted Elena out while she screamed about family loyalty and ungrateful brothers who abandon families. The entire produce section witnessed peak family dysfunction in real time. The incident report was officially documented, adding another piece to harassment pattern my lawyer was building for potential criminal charges. Month 2. Legal machinery ran. Wage garnishments processing automatically. Asset seizure proceeding per court orders. Family discovering legal judgments aren't ignorable suggestions. Instead of accepting consequences like rational adults, they doubled down on increasingly unhinged behavior. Mom started calling extended family with elaborate fiction, painting me as villain in a bizarre narrative. According to her version, I'd developed paranoid delusions after surgery, was attacking family members who'd sacrificed everything to help me. My cousin Bill called after getting one of these calls. Dude, your mom called crying about how you've lost your mind, suing family for trying to help with medical bills. She wants the whole family staging an intervention. Bill, I'm sending you documents. Read them, then tell me who needs intervention. After reviewing evidence, Bill's response was immediate. Holy cow, Kai. Your family literally stole medical donations for vacation. Now they're trying to gaslight the entire extended family. That's not mental illness. That's sociopathic behavior. Word spread quickly through family network once people saw documentation. Relatives started blocking their calls, reaching out to me with support and apologies for not seeing through manipulation sooner. Dad had been quiet during social media campaign and workplace harassment, but losing extended family support pushed him into criminal behavior. Dad showed up at my building again, 11 p.m. Saturday, intoxicated, carrying his toolbox. When security approached him in the lobby, he claimed he was going to fix the family by breaking down my door and talking sense into me. Security called the police immediately. Responding officers found Dad in hallway outside my apartment with a crowbar, trying to pry at doorframe while muttering about ungrateful sons and family loyalty. Night in jail for attempted breaking and entering, intoxicated and disorderly, violating restraining order. Mugshot was spectacular. Intoxicated, disheveled, holding property card with charges making him look like complete psychopath. Jake sent me online crime blotter link. Your dad's career pivot from mechanic to petty criminal is really working out. Criminal charges were serious enough that his shop's insurance got involved. Business owners arrested for trying to break into children's apartments with crowbars are considered liability risks. Elena's final public breakdown came during a small claims court hearing, Tuesday morning in courthouse. I'd looked forward to this hearing for weeks. Not because I needed legal validation. Evidence was overwhelming, judgments inevitable, but because I wanted to watch my sister try explaining medical fund theft to a judge. My lawyer was prepared. Binders full of transaction records, vacation photo screenshots, bank statements showing systematic theft, documented evidence of every fraudulent charge. Case was so airtight, it could be legal textbook example. Elena showed up with what appeared to be lawyer, but turned out to be boyfriend Tyler, who'd apparently watched enough legal dramas to think he could represent her. His opening was claiming I'd authorized family members to manage medical funds for legitimate expenses. When the judge called Elena to testify about defense against medical fund misappropriation charges, she immediately launched into a screaming rant demonstrating complete reality detachment. Your Honor, my brother is sick. Surgery affected his brain, made him paranoid. We were trying to help him by taking care of ourselves so we could take better care of him. Family is not supposed to attack each other over money. The judge let her rant 30 seconds before cutting off. Ms. Sullivan, do you have evidence that these cruise and vacation charges were authorized medical expenses rather than personal entertainment costs? We were under so much stress taking care of him that we deserved a break. We earned that vacation by sacrificing for him. Do you have receipts, authorization documents, or any evidence these were legitimate medical expenses? Her response, scream, "This isn't fair," and start crying about family loyalty and ungrateful brothers. The courtroom was dead silent except for sobbing and occasional outbursts about how I'd abandoned my family and destroyed everyone's lives over money. The judge delivered the ruling with clinical precision. Judgment for plaintiff. Full restitution of misappropriated funds, plus interest, legal fees, punitive damages. Total, $31,400. Payment plan established within 30 days or wages garnished at maximum legal percentage. Elena screamed, "This is unfair!" as security escorted her from the courtroom. Very dramatic. Very much on official court record, following her forever. 3 years later, my life is better in every way. Completely recovered from surgery with no complications. Career thriving because I'm no longer constantly stressed about family financial crises randomly draining savings. Remember my ex, Sarah? We have been back together 2 years, and the relationship is completely different because I'm no longer carrying toxic family manipulation baggage. She tells me how proud she is that I finally stood up against those people I called family. We moved in together last year to a nice 2-bedroom I could actually afford. Financial freedom is incredible. Saving money for the first time in years, building actual wealth instead of maintaining a family safety net. Work relationships improve too. Colleagues respect that I handled the family crisis professionally instead of letting it destroy my career. Jake still brings up my hospital bed cyber attack as an example of using technical skills for personal justice. The extended family dynamics completely transformed. Cousins tell me gatherings are actually enjoyable without constant manipulation. Remember Aunt Carol? She invited me for Christmas. The family feels so much healthier without all that drama. Everyone's more relaxed when they're not being guilt-tripped for money. Meanwhile, my family's decline has been ongoing. Jake sends occasional updates. Mom's wages still garnished at 25%, continuing another 18 months until judgment satisfied. Had to get a second job cleaning offices nights to maintain lifestyle, apparently aging her dramatically. Elena never recovered. Court judgment destroyed credit rating, making decent employment impossible since many employers run credit checks. Moved back with parents, works part-time. Dad's shop went under 6 months after arrest. Legal fees, reputation damage from criminal charges, customer loss from family drama made business unsustainable. Now works for someone else's shop at hourly wages instead of owning business. The most satisfying thing? They had to sell the house I'd helped them buy with years of emergency loans, moved into rental apartment. Financial stability I'd provided for years evaporated completely once they lost access to my income. I kept every piece of documentation from their theft because I want to remember exactly what they were willing to do when they thought I was too weak to fight back. Documentation serves another purpose. Reminder to never enable that behavior again. Sometimes people ask if I feel bad about destroying my family or if I miss those relationships. The question makes me laugh. I didn't destroy anything. They destroyed themselves. Real family doesn't abandon you during surgery for cruises bought with donated funds. Strangers who donated $20 to my medical fund showed more genuine care than people who'd known me 29 years. That tells you everything. YouTube just dropped this new hype feature. If you're hooked on this story, smash that hype button. It tells YouTube this video deserves to blow up, and it keeps even crazier stories coming your way.